Stop trying to change your life. Raise your standard instead. See, if you've been trying to change your life, thinking more, planning more, learning more, but nothing's actually sticking, this might be the reason. You don't need a new plan. Maybe you need a new standard. Because right now, your life isn't being shaped by what you want, it's being shaped by what you tolerate. And that's a hard truth. But it's also the thing that can finally move you forward. Most people I talk to, especially in midlife, aren't lacking awareness. You already know something needs to change. You want more income. Many of us do. More control over your time. That freedom is incredible. Something that actually feels like progress, not just repeating the same weeks over and over again. And you've probably tried to figure it out. Maybe you've watched videos, YouTube videos on a certain topic, reading blog posts, maybe listening to podcasts, even maybe you started something. But then life continues. We have to work. We may have our 9 to 5 to go to. Maybe it's more hours than that. We got personal responsibilities, families' responsibilities. And then fatigue potentially sets in as well. And then suddenly that new direction keeps getting pushed to a later time. I'll start next week. I really will. I just need more clarity before really moving forward. I need the right time. But that time never really shows up. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, but because it's not required. Think about that. There's no consequence for not doing it. There's no structure forcing you into action. So it stays as an idea instead of becoming a reality. This is where most people get it wrong. They think they need a better strategy, more clarity, even more motivation. But none of those things actually create change, believe it or not. Because a plan doesn't change your life, a standard does. Your standard is what determines what you do when you don't feel like it. It determines what you allow yourself to delay. And it determines what becomes non negotiable. And here's the part most people don't realize: you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards. Think about it. So if your standard is, I'll do it when I feel ready, then you'll stay stuck in preparation. If your standard is, I'll do it when I have time, then it will always be pushed aside. But if your standard becomes, this gets done no matter what, now your behavior changes. Not because you feel different, but because the expectation changed. So let me show you what I mean. Think about your job for a moment. You don't wake up every morning asking, do I feel motivated today enough to go? You just go, even when you're tired, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're sick, fighting a flu or a cold, even when you'd rather do something else. Why is that? Because the standard is set. Showing up is not optional. You don't show up, there are consequences. Now compare that to building something for yourself. It becomes, I'll do it when I have time. I'll start when I feel ready. I'll get to it later. Same person, same capabilities, completely different standards. And that difference right there, that's the gap between staying stuck and actually moving forward. It's not discipline, it's not motivation, it's what you've decided is required and what you've allowed to stay optional. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. A lot of people don't consciously choose this, but they've set a lower standard for their own life, a lower standard than they have for everything else. They'll give energy to their employer, sometimes all their energy, sometimes blood, sweat, and tears. They'll give time to other people to help and do things with them, for them. They'll give consistency to obligations. But when it comes to themselves, it becomes flexible, optional, and delayed. And over time, that creates something quite dangerous. You start to lose trust in yourself. Our self esteem, our belief in ourselves is the main thing that's going to move us forward. You start functioning like that, and you start to lose trust in yourself. Because every time you say, I'm going to start, and you don't, you reinforce the identity of someone who doesn't follow through. Not because you can't, but because your standard doesn't require you to. And that's the part that needs to change. Not your potential, not your intelligence, your standard. This isn't about becoming a completely different person overnight. It's not like this total transformation that's going to occur. It's about making one decision. This is now part of who I am. Not something you try, not something you get to when it's convenient for you, something you do, even when it's small, even when it's imperfect. Because identity isn't built through moments, big moments. It's built through repeated actions, quiet actions, boring ones, consistent ones, the kind nobody sees. But over time, those actions become proof, evidence. And that proof and evidence becomes belief. That belief becomes momentum. When your mind has evidence and processes that evidence, now it's going to form that belief. That belief that you follow through, that belief that you get it done, that belief that it's going to get it done. And that belief, when it's formed, now creates that momentum you need to keep pushing through and get it done. So here's how to start. And we're going to keep it really simple. That's what I'm about, really simple. Pick one thing, not five, not a full plan, one thing. And you set a standard around it. Here's an example, okay? I spend 30 minutes a day building something for myself. That's it. 30 minutes a day building something for myself. You're not overthinking it, not perfect. It's not a perfect setup. There's no waiting, just a clear, repeatable action. every day, 30 minutes building something for yourself. And it's going to get more specific because you're going to have to identify what that something is as well, right? Whether you're going to spend 30 minutes on certain training or whatever the case. But even the fact that you just have that 30-minute a day standard, you know, every day it's non negotiable. 30 minutes a day, you're going to be building something for yourself. And like I said, it's clear, repeatable action because consistency creates that evidence I was talking about. That evidence builds that belief, and that belief is what actually moves you forward. So you don't need to overhaul your entire life. Okay, let's sum this up. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't even need a full clarity yet. You need to stop living at a standard that keeps you stuck where you are and raise it. Raise it just enough to create movement. Because once that happens, everything starts to shift and you will see it shift. And once that small step's done, you'll have the motivation, the movement, the belief, the standard you can set for something else and then continue down that path. Okay. Now, if you're still figuring things out, start with Clarity Guide. And if you already know it's time to move forward, then take the next step. Learn about the business model that I use to run my business online. This is where it starts. The links are in the description. In our next video, I'm going to show you exactly why most people struggle to stay consistent, even when they do start, because starting isn't the problem. Staying in motion is the problem. Okay, so watch out for that. But until next week, you can catch last week's video that's titled, You Don't Need to Be Ready, You Need to Be Willing. It's on the top left of this video. It connects perfectly with what we're talking about here and will help you take this one step further. And remember to subscribe for more videos to help you move forward in that life, career, and online business that you're working so hard to keep stable. Hope you have a great day. Take care and see you next week.